Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Wild Iris Ridge by RaeAnne Thayne, narrated by Leigh Cobb.
Chapter 1. This was, without question, the craziest thing she had ever done. Lucy Drake stood on the front porch of her great-aunt's house, shivering at the cold, damp breeze that slid under her jacket. She ought to just find a hotel somewhere in Hope's Crossing to spend the night, instead of standing here on the dark and rather creepy under the circumstances doorstep of a massive Victorian mansion after midnight in the middle of an April rainstorm. If she had an ounce of brains or sense, that is exactly what she would do. Climb back into her BMW and head for the nearest hotel. Hope's Crossing was overflowing with them, and on a shoulder season April night when the ski tourists were gone, she could probably find hundreds of empty rooms. Then again, if she had either of those things, brains or sense, she wouldn't be in this situation. Right now, she would probably be at the end of an 18-hour workday, heading back to her quiet condo on Lake Washington with another few hours of work ahead of her before she finally crashed. Another gust of freezing wind whined fitfully under the eaves and sent the branches of the red maple beside the porch clawing across the roof like skeletal fingers. She zipped up her coat and reached for the doorknob of the house. Crazy she might be, but she didn't need to be cold and crazy, too. The door was locked, of course. What else had she expected when Ira's house had been empty since December and Annabelle's shocking death? Even though she'd known it would be locked, she still felt a hard kernel of panic in her gut at one more obstacle. What if she couldn't get in tonight? What if she could never get in? Where would she go? She had come all this way, 2 days of driving from Seattle. She had subleased her condo, packed all her belongings, brought everything with her. She would be stranded without a home, without shelter, in a town where the 2 people she cared most about in the world were both gone. The lateness of the hour and her own exhaustion from the stress of the past week pressed in on her, macerating her control. She felt it slipping through her fingers like fine-grained sand, but she forced herself to take a deep breath. Okay. Calm. She could handle this. She had fully expected the door to be locked. No one had lived here for months. If she had shown up on the doorstep of the old house and found it wasn't secure, then she would have cause to worry. This wasn't a problem. She knew right where her great-aunt always hid the spare key, assuming no one had changed the locks, of course.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?